In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, we're going to help you overcome the New Year dangers. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast. And today, the first day of the year, welcome Stuart Warwick.
Hi Ian, fantastic to be here. New Year is the best time of year for me. I love it. So great to see you. Great to be back on the podcast.
Good stuff. So today we're going to talk about a really sensitive subject, actually, that we've just been discussing, and it's around the whole thing about New Year dangers. What does New Year dangers mean? And what we were talking about was a bit of imposter syndrome, a bit of everyone's come out of New Year, everyone's come out of Christmas, everyone's all happy, ready to go. But it's not kind of like that for many people, is it? Because as soon as they come back into work again, all of a sudden the realizations of everything that they slowed down and stopped doing in the mid-December actually come back to haunt them, don't they?
Yeah, it does. It does, Ian. And the New Year is a fantastic time of year because everything gets refreshed, everything feels new. We've just come out of 5-10 days off from Christmas. Hopefully it's been a good time, because for some people, Christmas can be a really difficult time of year for them.
Yeah.
But the exciting thing is it is brand new, and everyone is on that New Year kick trip, whether it be get fit, get rich, reinvent, leave a job, start a business. But there are some dangers out there associated with New Year. And I think it's really important that we acknowledge it, because everyone gets caught up in this expectation of this year is going to be the best year yet.
Yeah. And doing the same thing that you did last year and expecting a different result, I believe, is the classification of insanity, isn't it? and many people that we come across, and we even had a conversation with someone this morning about how's it all going, what's happening, and because of inaction, guess what happened? The results hadn't been great. And what happens at this time of year is that it's kind of a bit of a Facebook thing. You're sitting there on Facebook and everyone's having a great holiday, everyone's having a great time, they've all got their friends and family around, but that's like Facebook myth. And it's like, if you really want to do something different this year, and we've just released a podcast just last week on raising your standards and talking about some of the things about how people are getting into overwhelm, the shitty little voices that people have in their heads about, I've got to do it like this, I've got to be this, I've got to do that. And this is, we've kind of touched on these subjects this morning, touched on the subject before on the podcast, but we felt quite motivated that we needed to do something at the beginning of the year. So first of all, Stuart, talk to me about time management and the things that we see, that you see when we're coaching, that people get themselves tied up in knots about, and that we have to unravel. I mean, if we can fix all this stuff in a podcast, we might actually do ourselves out of a job. That'd be an interesting theory. Put that in the budget. But talk to me about what you think about, some of the way that people approach time management and how they think that they're being productive when in actual fact they're probably doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, time management, we all know what it means. We all know a lot about kind of what we ought to be doing. But I think when you think about time management as a whole, I think you have to step back and look at actually, am I getting the results I want in my life? Am I losing weight? Am I getting fit? Do I have good relationships? Can I sustain relationships? Do I keep falling in and out of love or marriage or whatever it might be? And do I keep struggling in my business? Do I never quite have enough profit to pay myself at the end of the year properly, even though the accountant says I made a profit? And I think time is one of the most precious resources that go into the equation of us being successful. So our results follow our activity. So if we do the right activities aligned to kind of the outcomes we want, then the result should be that we have better relationships, more money, more profit, better business, whatever it might be. And I think in the MSP world, time management is crucial for MSPs, for business owners of MSPs, the owners of MSPs, because ultimately they have a choice over whether their business works for them or whether they work for the business.
Yeah.
And having a small lifestyle business is a fantastic opportunity. And if you're happy running a lifestyle MSP, knock yourself out. However, if you're knocking yourself out literally and you're working 60, 70 hours a week, decade in, decade out, when you start getting to 40, 45, 50, you don't have the energy to sustain it. But that's lifestyle. But I think there's a large number of MSPs that want to be bigger to have the ability to not do all the work. So you need the scale and the revenue and the gross profit to be able to employ or outsource the tasks that consume you and end up you doing a 9 till 5 and then a 6 till midnight, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And this is something I'm really, really passionate about, and I think needs tabling at this time of year, because everyone can get caught up in the euphoria of new year, new me, new business. Yeah, it's going to be the best year yet. But for many, it's just the start of the same pattern that went on last year. And by the time we get to end of January, we're already settling back into those old ruts. We've stopped going to the gym. But if it's our business, we're settling back in. In fact, we never even change what we hoped we were going to change. And I've heard of people, MSPs that have been on holiday and had heart attacks due to stress.
Yeah.
They've been told to slow down by their doctor. They're not seeing their kids enough. They're getting divorced. Marriages are the cost of having a business. And that business isn't working for you because it's consuming you. And I've gone on a bit of a rant there, but it's why you and I do what we do, because the business doesn't have to own you unless you choose to let it own you.
Great. I'm glad you said that last word, the C word, you choose. So how, choose and change. Great couple of words there. For MSPs who are sitting there going, look, okay, I've had a week back in now. I'm starting to get a bit more overwhelmed. I think I'm going to go exactly where I was last November. What do they need to do? I've got this new vision. I've got this kind of bit of a plan. I want to do things differently this year. I need to employ some more people, get some more clients, all of that kind of great stuff. But how do they change? What are the things that they need to do to break that cycle of them getting back into that rut and to do things a bit differently? How do people approach that?
Really, really simple. You have to get out of your own way. It isn't just about following the checklist that you've downloaded off Google about time management or prioritization or planning, of which they are all important. You have to get out of your own way, because it's you that is choosing to use your time, make certain decisions, not make certain decisions that give you the results that mean you do the same thing you did last year. And so the consequence of that is stress, overwhelm, and nothing changing, and feeling trapped. And there is this acknowledgement that, I just need this silver bullet thing, an external thing, but actually it's all about you. And so the most important thing to start with, if you're going to change your results, is start to get out of your own way. So the first thing is get out of your own way.
Okay, Stuart. So what does actually, getting out of my own way mean? What does change look like? What do I need to do differently to be a better version of myself?
Really simple. You need to look at where the evidence lies in terms of your results. So if you're working a 70-hour week, why are you working a 70-hour week? What can you stop doing? What could others start doing for you? But as you start to explore that, it's then a case of what stops you hiring that extra person or outsourcing that out-of-hours service to somebody or to another organization, because you don't believe, or that it's actually true that there's not enough cash or profit in the business for you to employ someone. So you have to do it yourself. So you get stuck in this vicious circle. You need to get some help. If you want to get out of your own way, you need to get another perspective. You need to work with, join a group and ask what they've done to scale their business. Yep. There's loads of MSP groups out there on Facebook that meet in person. There's the Great Tech Tribe, meetups around the UK. Get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, but get an outside perspective. But that's just step one. The second step is to change your environment. So,
Stuart, we're talking about, what you need to do with that, but what's the importance of your actual environment. Everyone's cleared their desks for Christmas and they've gone off and had loads to eat and drink, be merry with the family and everything like that. And they come back and the environment's exactly the same. Is that going to serve people this year if they want to make some changes?
No, it's not. It's, you have to change your habits. You have to change your environment if you want to get different results. And being alone and trying to do this alone and get different result is tough. It's why people go on training courses. It's why people have coaches. It's why they have mentors.
Yeah.
Because it makes them accountable. And I think this is the thing. Stop trying to do it on your own. Make yourself accountable, and not just to yourself, because it's easy to break your commitment to yourself. Get into an environment that supports you doing things differently. And unfortunately, that is scary, Ian. We've talked about comfort zone loads of times, and scaling an MSP business is about getting out of your own way, and it's getting out of your comfort zone, but not into the fear zone. It's getting you into a space where you're stretching your boundaries. And to do that, we need support. We need help. Because the cost of not doing this, Ian, can be our life. I mentioned at the start of this, I've heard of people going on holiday and having heart attacks just due to the stress. We've all had, I've certainly been ill when I've been on holiday. And I know when the kids were young, exhausted, you go on holiday and you get ill.
Yeah.
And you spend the first 3 days either asleep or ill when you should be enjoying yourself. Take it a step further, and particularly if you've been in business, 20 years or 25 years, and you're in your 40s or 50s, I've heard of people having heart attacks and, spending their holiday in a hospital, getting a stent put in, to then go back into a business that probably caused them having a heart attack, let alone the lack of profit and income that business can provide you for the expertise you provide to your clients, so that you can live a life in the way that you want to. So it's all about getting the business to work for you rather than you for it, so that A, you don't die, but B, you can enjoy life on the terms that you want to enjoy it.
And this is quite interesting, isn't it? Because we've talked quite a bit about people, when you stop, you kind of go on holiday, you're getting ill. There's only so much the body can take. And Correct. A lot of MSPs that we know, work with, and some we don't work with, are in absolute overwhelm because they've always done what they've always done, and they've always been busy, being techies. Now, whether you're a low six figures or a high seven figures, you're all busy. You've all got your own mess, because some of you in your seven figures might be having a leadership team, but they might not be aligned. People might not be doing what they're doing, what they should be doing, their accountability and everything like that. And this all consumes in your headspace, while you're moving forwards. And when you start having sleepless nights, you start getting ill, your bones start aching. This is all stress that you're putting on your body.
Yep.
And sometimes, and I saw this very much a couple of times when I was in corporate, about people who endured stress, and we didn't even know what was going on. Then all of a sudden they just burst out crying. It was like, what? And someone said, that's just stress. And this guy was off. Literally, this guy was the hardest guy I've ever worked with. And he was off for 6 months because he couldn't stop crying. And he said, and when he came back, he says, I had no idea what the hell was going on. And it was really, really scary for me, because it was like, okay, this isn't good. We didn't know this was going on. This was before the whole mental health word, even kind of came around. So, the amount of people that I talk to now who make sure that they get regular exercise, good quality food, a bit of headspace, a bit of meditation, a bit of downtime, because everything holding the phone up to the microphone is on the phone. Everything's accessible. I need everything now. Deliveroo now. This now. Amazon, buy it now. Now. And we get in this rut, don't we, where everybody wants it now. And you think that everybody wants it now, when in actual fact, a lot of it is that voice in your head that you're just putting pressures on yourself when you don't need to. Correct.
And, the purpose of this podcast is not to be a downer on New Year, because I absolutely love it, as I said at the beginning. But it's to acknowledge the silent many that are struggling with the expectation of a new year, new me, new you, yet they're just going to experience more of the same because they're trapped. And I think on the MSP journey for us, where we've got MSPs are in that sort of 250 to sort of 500, 600K mark, between drive and thrive. These are the guys that, if they've got the aspiration to grow, or they just want the business to work better for them, these are the guys that are on that treadmill that they just do not know how to get off. And it comes at a cost. Not seeing your kids, your health, your wealth, and everything in between.
So let's talk about the 80-20 rule, good old Pareto's law. We speak about it quite a bit, but people who listen to this podcast are going, right, I want to do things differently. I don't want to be overwhelmed anymore. I'm going to get my plan together. How does an MSP approach seeking out the 20% that's going to create the 80% of their profit, or whichever way round we want to look at it? How do they start to analyze? I'm looking at my desk right now. I'm listening to this podcast. I've got all these bits of paper all over my desk. Where do I start and going, right, what do I need to sort out first?
Yeah. Well, what does a great year look like, first of all?
Brilliant.
If 2023 is going to be the year for you where things change, what does success look like at a personal level and at a business level? Yeah. And that comes then back to your time. Okay, what does success look like for my time? What does a successful week look like, or month? And you might say, do you know what? It's working 4 days a week, or it's working just a 40-hour or 50-hour week instead of 80 hours. Great. If that's so what are you going to do to achieve that? Now, it might be like, I've done this before. It didn't work. Same old, same old. Of course, there's no secret sources to time management or having a successful business. You can Google it, but you've got to act on it. And this is why I was saying at the beginning, you've got to get out of your own way. So what is once you've looked at the 80-20 rule of where you spend your time, where your revenue comes from, we've done a podcast on Know Your Numbers in the past. That's all great. But then we've got to actually consistently take the action to make it happen. So there's no point doing what everybody does in January and go to the gym only to stop in February onwards. So there's no point managing your diary fantastically for January only to go back to what didn't work all last year. So how are you going to do that? And we talked right at the beginning. Get some help, change your environment, and thirdly, check in with who you hang out with on a regular basis. If you're hanging out with people and ruminating around the same problems that they have, that you have, you're all having a pity party together. What is it that people who are achieving what you'd like to achieve? Go and hang out with them. Go and get in an environment, whether it be a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group or a physical group in your part of the country, or an online group, or join a coaching program or a mentoring program. But get out of your own way, hang out with the people that are doing it so you can learn from them and associate with them, and they can lift you up when you're struggling. And part of that, well, not part of that is then the structural side of doing things differently that will keep you doing it, which is why you go to a gym. But if you have a personal trainer that's expecting you there every Thursday and they ring you if you don't turn up, you're going to keep going. But you have a choice to choose to opt out of that personal trainer because it's more comfortable to go back to the old ways. But that doesn't give you the result. And so there's this vicious circle that we get trapped in, but you can break out of it. And it comes back to where we started, of getting out of your own way. Who or what can help you stay the course on this new course of action, as opposed to just dropping back to what's comfortable and keeps you stressed?
And more importantly, what does winning look like? So the reason that the gym doesn't work very well for many people in the new year is because they go to the gym, because they've just eaten a load of crap and drunk too much over Christmas, not done enough exercise, and felt like they're just about to solidify in the armchair, me being one of them. So you come out of it and you go to the gym because it makes you feel better, but it's hard work. And you go to the gym and then the next day you go to the gym again and nothing's changed. And then you go to the gym again, then you bump into the first weekend and then you have a drink and away you go. Whereas if you set a goal of, in 3 months' time, I want to be at a certain weight, for example, why do you want to be at that weight? Well, so that my knees don't ache, so I can walk faster, so I don't get puffed out when I go up the stairs, so I can play with the kids, so I can go on holiday. So, whatever that might be, all of a sudden that then becomes the purpose. So where we were talking about, where do you want to be this time next year or next December? Fast forward to December and say, I want to feel like X, Y, and Z in terms of my health, my wealth, my happiness, my business results. And then you reverse engineer it back from there. But if you just say, I just want to be less busy, well, tomorrow you'll be less busy because the phone won't ring as much. Whereas in actual fact, what we want to do here is embed some personal growth and embed some routines that help you become bigger and better. Because I don't know many £1 million MSPs that are one person.
No.
Because they've employed other people and they've got it right. Some of them got it right. Some of them have got it sort of right. Some of them can be doing it a lot better. And that's what's amazing about this environment and the MSP community and the MSPs themselves is, number one, I don't know many business models that are as amazing where you can wake up on the first day of the month and you get all your direct debits from your monthly recurring revenue pop in, and before you know it, you're 50, 60, 70, 80 grand in. And I also don't know many businesses that you can run that potentially on 3 or 4 days a week, So we've got such a great opportunity not to balls this whole thing up. And you've got a great business model, you've got a great attitude, and we know that we've changed so many people's lives, haven't we? About with changing the way that they think about things and what they come up with and the scaling with confidence and all of that kind of great stuff. So,
and it's really common, Ian, to start working with an MSP owner and for them to say, do you know what, I should have done this 5 years ago. I should have done this 5 years ago or 10 years ago because I've been spinning my wheels, working hard, feeling good about working hard, but working too hard.
Yeah.
And, there's many MSPs out there that have got nice businesses, but they just don't know what to do with it next. And at worst case, it's impacting their health and their relationships and also their wealth. But at the same time, there are some that are where it's okay. And it's less like, how do I just take it to the next level and it not be all about me? And so I think at this new year time, taking stock, which is why the new year is so great, and going, do you know what, how can I make this my best year yet? Again, cliche there. However, it's true though. You can make it your best year yet. And in fact, this year can be better than last year, where last year was your best year yet, and it can be better than the year before.
Yep.
And I've had the personal privilege, and I know you have, of working with people for multiple years, and every year gets better than the next in terms of either the time off that they get from the business or the time that they can take out of the business, the profits they're making, and the difference that they're making to their staff and their communities and their clients. And it's possible, but I don't know anybody that didn't go, hasn't said, if only I'd done this earlier.
Yeah.
I think we've all said that. I know I've said it, I wish I'd got to the gym, or got stronger, fitter. I wouldn't have, X, Y, Z. So I think at this time of year, our message here is, Happy New Year. 2023 can be your best year yet. We've got great plans to have a great year.
We've already decided this is going to be our best year.
Well, we talk about the preloaded year. Our holidays are booked.
Yeah,
we've booked them all in. It's the 3rd of Jan.
Yes,
holidays are booked. The client calendar is booked. It's in everybody's diaries.
That was the first thing we did, by the way.
We know everything that's planned.
Absolutely, and then we know exactly how the rest of them.
So now we're filling up the rest of the year with what we need to do to make the year the best year yet for us. And I implore everyone listening, if you're going through oh my God, it's fantastic, it's the new year, but how do I make it better, or different to last year? Get out of your own way, change the environment that you're in, and hang out with people that have done it or are doing it, and not people that are wallowing around doing the same thing that you're struggling with. And those three things together, and having a really good, clear plan to which you have accountability built in, will transform 2023.
Absolutely. And finally, if anyone's feeling that they just don't know where to turn, or they don't know who to talk to, or anything like that, just get in touch with either myself or Stuart on LinkedIn. We're more than happy to have a chat and just to see if we can connect you with someone who might be able to help.
Totally, because I'm totally passionate about this, and people shouldn't have to struggle if they are.
No. Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Stuart. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
See you on the next one.
See ya.
So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, I'd love it if you could leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform. If you want to learn more about how to take your MSP to $1 million, or if you're already there, go faster, then come and join Stuart Warwick and myself in the Scale with Confidence Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.